Yo, what's going on, everybody? So, I wanted to hop on today and talk about something that we haven't talked about in quite a while, and that is the relationship between the altcoin market, Bitcoin, and the Fed's balance sheet. Now, many of you know that we have made this correlation for a couple years now, right? It's been very obvious, and we were able to discover this chart that shows via the maroon line, pink line, whatever you want to call it, which is the Fed's balance sheet and the altcoin market versus Bitcoin, which is what you see here, right? Other total others versus Bitcoin, excluding stables, minus the top 10 altcoins. And then the Bitcoin chart. We know that this entire cycle has been drastically different from previous cycles due to the fact that monetary policy has been tighter than it has ever been in any previous cycle before. We know that this has also affected Bitcoin's ability to show durable, strong momentum to the upside. It has led to indicators that just haven't hit like they normally hit throughout previous cycles. RSI is not able to get into overheated territory. Momentum indicators not able to show durably strong momentum. Bitcoin has been very boring. It has made small moves that happen very quick, and it has done that every single year since 2023. We also know that the altcoin market has been in a bear market against Bitcoin for almost 4 straight years now. Right? As you could see here, back in January of 2022, the bear market started for altcoins against Bitcoin, and they have been in a bear market ever since. As you can see here, the maroon line, quantitative tightening started at that exact moment. So ever since we've been in this bear market for altcoins versus Bitcoin, quantitative tightening has been occurring, and we've had high interest rates. Okay? So the relationship there is obvious, right? You know that when quantitative easing began and accelerated, you have altcoin seasons. When you have a neutral balance sheet, as many of you know, flat line here, Bitcoin goes up, you get altcoin season. So with that being said, I want to jump into more details here. We're going to go over each cycle and we're going to show the relationship, and then I want to talk about what I think is going to happen now. But before I do that, don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. Check the links in the description below. And don't forget to also comment if you have any questions. So, if we jump back to 2017, we could see via the orange line that Bitcoin was going parabolic to the upside in its greatest bull market of all time, right? You had a neutral balance sheet from the Fed, which is the flat line here, right? A little bit of QT, a little bit of QE, but relatively neutral balance sheet. That was the environment. Those were the ingredients necessary in order to get an altcoin season. As you can see here, altcoins came up. They came back and retested our key zone of support and then blasted off into a further altcoin season, probably the biggest altcoin season of all time. Okay? So what are the ingredients that we just talked about? Bitcoin goes up, balance sheet is neutral, altcoin season. Okay? Skipping over to 2019, we're about to see how the ingredients did not play out properly because we didn't have the ingredients. You have quantitative tightening ends, QE begins. Bitcoin tops out in its mid-cycle top, right? Went on a major run back in 2019. It was unbelievably parabolic. It was insane. It went too hard, too fast. It needed to cool off. So we went into a major mid-cycle correction, right? A major mid-cycle correction, which then ended up leading to COVID. But with that being said, you had QE. You had altcoins in the bottom zone of support. But Bitcoin topped out in its mid-cycle top. So what happened? Did altcoins go up? Some altcoins did go up, but the majority of them did not. They only outperformed Bitcoin while Bitcoin went down. You understand what I'm saying here? Some altcoins on their USD pairs went up, but most just outperformed Bitcoin on the way down. Everything went down. Why did everything go down? Thought when quantitative easing or the balance sheet is neutral, altcoins are supposed to go up. Because Bitcoin went down. Bitcoin leads the way, folks. Whatever Bitcoin does, the altcoins are going to do. It just happens to be that the monetary policy environment at that moment supported altcoins not doing as bad as Bitcoin, which is fine, right? Still a major correctional period. No altcoin season, right? So, with that being said, you get a rallying in altcoins against Bitcoin, you come back down, you retest the horizontal line of support once again back in 2020, December of 2020. Quantitative easing is accelerating due to fears around the economy. Bitcoin is going parabolic, and guess what happens? you have the ingredients to have an altcoin season. And that's exactly what occurred. Once again, Bitcoin goes up, quantitative easing was occurring, altcoin season occurs right here. Okay? And then, as you can see, what we just talked about in 2022, QE ended, monetary policy was starting to get more restrictive, inflation was at 9%, naturally, with quantitative tightening, 75 basis point rate hikes every single month. The altcoin market went into a torrential bear market along with Bitcoin, right? Everything went into a bear market. But as you can see, here's the deviation. Bitcoin has just been going up, 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 up for the last 3 straight years, while the altcoin market has gone down, 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 down on its pairing against Bitcoin. Some altcoins, yes, have went up, have trended higher with time. They're making higher lows. Chainlink, Doge, ADA, a lot of coins out there, right? XRP. But overall, in terms of the overall collective total others market, minus the top 10, so I probably shouldn't have mentioned those top 10 coins, they have bled back to Bitcoin over the last 4 straight years. That is due to the fact, and this is the relationship we've been talking about over and over and over again for 2 years now, is because of the balance sheet reduction has been at a scale we have never seen before, and interest rates have remained high. So overall, the monetary policy environment has been way too restrictive for altcoins to have any durable, sustained outperformance over Bitcoin. Now, have we had a couple rallies? Absolutely. Everyone called it alt season right here back in 2022. Everyone said it was altcoin season right here back in 2023. Everyone said it was altcoins. Everyone said it was altcoin season back in Q4 2024. We did not. We said, while this rally is great, altcoins are still in a highly restrictive monetary policy environment. Almost had me fooled back in Q4. Even I was starting to think, maybe we don't need the monetary policy environment. Maybe it is altcoin season. But nope. Held my tongue on that one, thankfully. And no, it was not altcoin season. It lasted only a month and a half. And now look where we've come. We've ended up coming back down. We tested the horizontal range of support, but now we've went deep into it on the last wick via Friday's price action, right? We went to the exact same lows that we went to back in 2019, 2017, 2020, and 2021, I guess is December, January, and then now October of 2025. So what does this all matter? Why are we talking about this right now? I don't know if many of you know, and I posted about it. You should know by now. Powell came out yesterday at an economic forum in Philly, and boy, oh boy, did he make a huge splash. It's not even a Fed meeting. He sat there for a half hour, 40 minutes, talked about the balance sheet the entire time. Now, many of you know Powell never talks about the balance sheet. Never. Barely. He may bring it up for 2 minutes, or only if someone asks about it. But nope, he talked about the balance sheet. And why did he do this? Because he led you, he talked about where it's been, where it's come, and where it's going in the future. Because he's telegraphing to you, via his own words, that the Fed is going to be ending quantitative tightening within the coming months. This is what the Fed does. They telegraph their monetary policy adjustments. They don't want the markets to overreact if they don't, right? They want you to know ahead of time, but in a very subtle way. That's what he does with interest rates. We may need to adjust policy here in the next coming months. Same thing he said about quantitative tightening. He actually said we're going to likely end it. It's going to be coming to an end in the coming months. So what does that mean for us? Well, we have interest rates coming down in the next 2 months. Hopefully, inflation and the labor market continues to soften. Inflation stays tame, we'll get more. So we have interest rates coming down closer to the neutral rate. And we have quantitative tightening finally coming to an end, which in my opinion is the big one. That is the monetary policy environment you need in order to have durable altcoin outperformance. But what is the other ingredient we need that we just spoke about? We need Bitcoin to go higher. Okay? If Bitcoin does not go higher, if 125K was the top, there will be no altcoin season. Period. That's my opinion. That is what's been shown to happen in the past, right? We went back and we looked at 2019 and we seen Bitcoin topped, mid-cycle top, quantitative easing began. We didn't even have a neutral balance sheet. We had quantitative easing occurring, and we had 0%, roughly 0% interest rates, and you still did not get an altcoin season. You just got altcoins performing not as bad as Bitcoin, and some altcoins did go up. We don't want that situation this time. We don't want Bitcoin to roll over here, enter into a major correctional phase, maybe even a bear market, and then we finally get the monetary policy environment we've needed all along, and we don't get our altcoin season because Bitcoin's going down. I mean, talk about like the cherry on top for this cycle, what that would be. It would be devastating, right? It would be devastating because we've waited and tracked this so accurately and so passionately for years. And it's finally here. We're finally getting an end to QT. We have rates coming down. Hopefully the economic data stays stable enough for us to continue that path, but it looks like it's going to. The Fed is clearly on a path to easing here. And again, the biggest of the biggest, the balance sheet reduction is ending. This is the recipe for altcoin season. Not to mention, we came back and retested the lows from 2017, 2019, and 2020. We just did that on Friday. And we actually did it back in July, but we really confirmed it this time on Friday. Everything is in place. This is it. We have retested the major support. The balance sheet reduction size is ending. Interest rate cuts are happening. What is the last piece of the pie that we need to make this happen? We need Bitcoin to go higher, guys. We need Bitcoin to break 125K. We need Bitcoin to break that weekly bearish divergence. We need Bitcoin to move higher. This is the unfortunate part. If you're a cycle theory believer, the timing of the cycle is either over or close to being over. So we don't have much time if you're a cycle timing believer. Okay? I've made it a thing to point out that if you measure the cycle from the bottom and from the halving, the cycle is technically over this week and last week. Right? It's over roughly within this 2-week span. That's a fact. There's no denying that. That's the charts. That's not me. Now, if you measure it from when Bitcoin started moving higher back in December, and some people like to do that, they say, we'll stretch it to December. That's fine. I'm willing to, I don't have really a stake in that debate. I don't really care. I just like to kind of troll the cycle people a little bit. Sure. Can we go to December? By all means. I hope we go to March, April, May. I am more of a believer that the macro has a stronger influence on the market than timing, right? And I made that very clear on the stream yesterday. If you didn't watch the stream yesterday, I highly recommend it. The stream was absolutely phenomenal. I was fired up on there. We talked about a lot of great things. But to conclude, we are at the most critical point we've ever been at. And all we need at this point, it's honestly the easy part. We just need Bitcoin to go higher. The monetary policy aspect of this whole cycle has been the difficult part to navigate. Because the Fed is just so difficult to deal with, right? I mean, 1 minute they're dovish, the next they're, hawkish, right? They're barely cutting, but now we're there. We're at that point. They're cutting steadily. Labor market is softening. Growth is softening. Inflation is relatively tamed. And now they want to end QT. And they're basically just handed it to us on a silver platter. That's what we needed this entire time. That is when you will have me on video saying altcoin season is here. I will tweet it out. I will make videos. I'll make posters of myself and say, Kev said it's altcoin season. But we need Bitcoin to go higher first. So with that being said, we're going to continue to track this as close as we possibly can in the coming days, in the coming weeks, right? Hopefully the coming months. We need Bitcoin to break 125K, and we need Bitcoin to not fall below the 2-week 50 SMA and the 2-day 200 EMA and SMA. All right, we know that range is roughly around 102, 103 to 97K. Okay, those are the lines in the sand. If Bitcoin can find a low here in the next few weeks at 106.8K, 104, 102, somewhere in that range, if we can find a durable low, flip the 3-day indicators and make them bullish again, same way we did in April, right? And start heading back higher again and go and break those levels that we talked about, and we get that monetary policy easing, I will be the first one to come on here and say altcoin season is either here or coming. But those are the ingredients we need. It's fragile and it's not guaranteed. So we're in the best position to track it though, and we will track it accurately like we have continued to do. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check the links in the description below. Follow me on X at KevCapital_TA. Also, check the links in the description for the Patreon link. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you all have a nice day. Peace out.